Let's start with the question, what is Mannerism? It is a relatively short artistic movement lasting only from 1520 to 1600, and a response to the conflict happening towards the end of the Renaissance, such as the Spanish Inquisition and the Protestant Reformation, that caused artists to want to distance themselves from the classical resurgence of the Renaissance. In other words, it is a mannered or self-conscious critique of their predecessors. They did this by distorting and elongating figures, using vibrant acidic colors, crowded compositions, and focusing on the emotion of the figure. A key transitional piece can be seen in Michelangelo's frescoes in the Sistine Chapel from 1516 to 1541. During his first pieces, you can see in the creation of Adam, he's still using these classical forms, very defined proportions and compositions. But then towards the end, when he created the Last Judgment around the middle of the Mannerist movement, we can see that it's formed into a very crowded composition using forms that are awkward looking and disproportioned in order to focus on their physical emotions, such as in the angels blowing their horns and around Jesus at the center of the painting. We can also see this Mannerist influence in the use of this very vibrant blue that is not seen in other pieces in the Sistine Chapel. But this is still a Renaissance painting. Its figures still have weight to them. We can see that in the struggle from the angels to pull the dead souls up to heaven. Now let's move into the Church of Santa Felicita and see Pontormo's The Entombment of Christ. Now what's interesting about this painting is that the Church of Santa Felicita is a very Renaissance style church in its architecture, but the Entombment of Christ is a very Mannerist painting. We can see this in the use of vibrant blues and pinks to create this almost surreal atmosphere of the painting, and we can see that there is a lot of movement in the painting, allowing the eye to have no rest, and dramatic emotion of the faces, creating a almost theatrical scene. He also created a composition of only forms, creating a mystery behind the painting because it has no physical objects to set it in a biblical scene. You can only tell by the positioning of Mary and Jesus that this is the entombment of Christ, and even that in itself is debated upon. The figures are extremely elongated, as we can see in Christ's drooping body, and the figures are floating in the picture, as we can see in the woman behind Mary that appears to be almost flying over the composition. They hold no weight and are a complete departure from those in the Renaissance that were very grounded in reality. A different approach to Mannerism is Anguissola's portrait of the artist's sister and brother. Anguissola is a special example because she was allowed to be taught how to paint, unlike many women of the time who were barred from apprenticeships. This is because she came from an aristocracy and her father provided teachers to all of his children. This is an obvious departure from the Entombment of Christ. The colors are toned down, there isn't as much movement in the characters, but there's still that air of mystery and emotion to the painting. The placement and setting is unknown. We only see the three forms that make up the composition. This is most likely because this was a personal object that would have only been seen by the family. We also see these intimate emotions in the faces of the children. The oldest sister is looking directly at the painter, most likely because she is the most mature, but the other two children seem to be looking off or distracted by other things, as a child would. We also see this playfulness by including the dog. We also still have those elongated proportions as seen in the neck. The poses are relaxed and expressive, which connects it to Mannerism.